Hiya 10, I hope you're okay. I'm just going to do your second video. The first video last week was kind of just touching base, giving you an insight as to how we're progressing with our coral project and our Enchanted Waters project without being in school. I'm quite excited about the idea of starting some more practical work. I know you've been doing your drawings and studies at home, and that has been quite testing, I can imagine, because you haven't had me there to help you, which I apologise for. But this week is going to be more hands-on and lots of making, which I know there's a lot of people in our group that really enjoy that side of things rather than the drawing, which is a massive thing with GCSE art. You'll find that you really like one thing but you don't like another, so you're just going to have to embrace the part that you are strongest at. So yeah, last week I put a PowerPoint on the VLE with the different breeds of coral for you to have a look at, and I asked you to make some notes on the videos and just get to grips with the different types and how they grow, where they grow, etc. And I asked you to make some notes on that. So those notes eventually, when we get back to school again, or if you have your board at home, let me know and I'll talk you through how you can get to that point if you want to do your boards. You're going to put that information on your board as well, because as you know, with art we are required to do the written aspect of it too. It shows the examiner that you have good contextual understanding. So yes, with your now knowledge of coral, you'll have seen on my PowerPoint last week my examples of the different paper corals that I've made. So I'm going to talk you through how to make those. The reason why I've chosen to make this whole costume out of just paper inspired by our artist is because I'm hoping that everybody's just got some printer paper at home, a glue stick, scissors, pencil and pen is all you're going to need for it. So that's why I've chosen it, because it's the most accessible thing for everybody to be able to get their hands on, and it's cheap and cheerful. So the first one we're going to do together is the sponge. So usually called marine sponge. And in fact, I found out when I was researching it that coral, the marine sponge, is what SpongeBob SquarePants was inspired by, would you believe? So you're just going to need one A4 piece of paper to start with. You're going to fold it in half this way, like that. Open it out, fold it in half again the other way, and then you're going to fold your halves in half, like this. So then you've got an 8 boxed piece of paper. You've sectioned it off into 8, 4 at the top, 4 at the bottom. So that's in half again, and halving your halves. That. Once you've got that, then you can cut those boxes out. So you've got 8 what they'll look like rectangles. I'm sorry if this video is laborious. So I'm not going to cut out all 8 of mine because I'm just going to show you, but you will cut out all 8. In fact, you're going to need to do this quite a few times, because if you notice on the artist's work, a lot of her coral that she puts onto her pieces are all close knit together. So I would be making probably about 40 of these. Yeah, I know that's quite a lot, but yeah, about 40 of them. So scrumple it up, each one. So every time you've got your rectangle, you're going to scrumple up. Now you're probably thinking, why is Miss gone mad? Why is she now scrumpling up paper? The reason why I'm scrumpling it is because paper, and you'll feel it as you go along, it becomes more malleable once you have taken its integrity away. So when it's like, I'll show you when I've cut one. if it's just like that and not been screwed, it's quite hard to manipulate and change. Whereas when it's like this, you've broken down all the barriers that are in the paper, and therefore it becomes more malleable. It also looks, when the costume's put together and all the coral pieces are together and all of them have been scrumpled, it has a nicer finish to it. It doesn't look too clean and precise. It's got a nice texture to it, which obviously, as you can see on the pictures and from your drawings that you've done, coral does have texture. So once you've got one of your rectangles where you have scrumpled it, you're going to either use your pencil or pen, and you're going to wrap, it's quite simple, you're going to wrap it around as long as it joins together like that. Now these are to make long marine sponges. If you want to make shorter ones, then all you do is fold your original piece of paper again into smaller sections so that your original rectangles are smaller. Once you've wrapped it until you've just got a small amount left, use your glue stick, put a line of glue on the end, try and keep it as tight as possible, and then when you take it off, you have your marine sponge tube like that. Okay, now I'm going to show you how not to do this, because there's obviously, you know, I'm like, there's ways this could go wrong quite easily. So first of all, not scrumpling up your paper. That's going to just not create the texture that I'm looking for. So if I just leave it like that, then if you are just going to go around your thing willy-nilly, not even thinking about how tight you're pulling it, then that's going to go wrong as well. And then if you're just a bit lackluster with your glue and you put it together, you've got something that looks like that, which is not what I want. Okay, because we're using paper, it's very similar to when I've said it before in the past about using wire. It's one of those materials that could potentially, because you think you're recycling the paper by making these, you can be a little bit like not bothered about the materials, but you have to be really, really precise with every one that you do. And because it's been wrapped around a few times, it's got a real sturdiness to it, which when we glue them down onto our costume will really help. So if you were to make a smaller one, that's just your original rectangle smaller, because you've folded your original piece of paper down even smaller. Also, by doing that where you cut down the where you get your words out, miss. When you do that where you fold your original piece of paper into rectangles, what that does is it means that each one that you make is going to be uniform. It's going to be the same size over and over again. If you just got a piece of paper and just started hacking rectangles out of it, you're not going to be sure that each one's going to be the same. So same again, just rolling it up, screwing it up so it loses its integrity, folding it around the pencil or pen, keeping it tight, pulling it each time, because if you don't, it's going to kind of spiral in the middle, and you want to be able to see through it, because the marine sponge, you can see through it. Put it down on the table, still pressing tight. Spin, 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 and you've got a shorter one. Okay, so they're your marine sponges. I would be making, like I say, 40, so you could have 20 tall, 20 small, or whatever ratio you want. But remember, these are going to be stuck together in groups all together. If you want to make more, because you think that maybe your costume's going to be mainly made up of a lot of the marine sponges, then feel free to make more of them. But that's number one, the sponges. I'm going to go through now the next one. And what I'm going to do is I'm doing the video in sections, so that if you want to stop here and make all of these, you can stop here, and then you can watch the next section of the video, which will show you the next one, etc. Okay, so the next one is going to be the Alcyonaceae. It's hard to say, but it's the kind of long, spiky looking coral, the second slide down on our PowerPoint from last week. It starts in exactly the same way as the sponge, so you're going to fold down your paper into the rectangles. I'm going to do the short one this time, so I'm going to make my paper smaller so you can see what I was trying to say for the sponges. So again, fold in half again, halve the halves. You'll become an expert at this if you're making so many of each. So we're back to where we were with the when we were doing the sponges, where we had 8 rectangles. You're now going to halve the halves again at the top and the bottom, so you're going to end up with smaller rectangles. So you should end up now where you've got 16, because I've folded half that way, halve the halves like we did before, and then I've halved the halves again to make more. Then again, cut them all out. Again with these, I think 20 of each, 20 big and 20 small, so you've got 40 altogether. So there's a smaller rectangle. So if you were to make the taller ones, for your 20 of the taller ones, you would need to do it where you don't halve it again, just the 8 rectangles in your paper. So once you've got that, you're going to roughly, and if you don't want to roughly do it and you want to draw it out, it just takes quite a long time, from the corner of the rectangle to the middle at the top, you're going to cut diagonally to there, from there to there, and you're going to do the same the other side. So what you're making is a long triangle like that. Okay, and then you're going to roll this, but this time you're going to use your fingers to start it off rather than the pen or the pencil. And you want it to be as tight as you can. So it's quite good to use your nail at this point to kind of get it started. And then you keep rolling really tight, as tightly as you can. Sorry, it's hard to show the camera on the desk. I wish we were on the desks, not my dining room table. Be easy, wouldn't it? Rolling, keep rolling as tightly as you can. And then what you'll notice is that it goes into the middle. You push it through from the bottom, twist it around again to make it tighter, and you'll start to create the spikier top to it. Then you'll have this end that's kind of flapping around. Use your glue stick there to just tack that into place so it doesn't keep falling out of shape. The tighter you can get them to go, the spikier they'll look. Okay, what have I done wrong? What an idiot. I haven't scrumpled up my paper. So that's actually wrong. We'll go again. You'll find this where you'll make mistakes, but I would cut it first before you scrumple it. Apologies. Even I go wrong, you see. Okay, so there we are. Scrumple it now. Supposed to be the expert. Still can't do it. Oh well. Right, so there you go. You've scrumpled it now. Well done, Miss Jones. You actually know what you're doing. Then, like I say, against the table, pressing down really hard, using your fingernails if needed to try and get that as tight as possible. tight, tight, tight. And then when it gets to the end, it finishes in the middle there. But what you want to do is pull it from the end and get it to come through. And then you want to tighten it up again, because that'll loosen it a bit. Like that. Okay, and then you want to use your glue stick, like I say, and press it down. So it actually doesn't make as much difference as it does with the sponges for this one when they're not screwed up. As you can see, you can't really tell much different between them, but it's just, you just know when it's not been done. Okay, so you can, obviously I sectioned that piece of paper off originally, so my rectangles were smaller, so that creates those ones. If you want them taller, then I'm just going to use one from earlier. I feel like I'm on Blue Peter. Use one of the bigger rectangles from before, but you won't have any of them, so you'll have to make some more. Same thing, where you cut it into your triangle. Mustn't forget. Let's go up. And then you can roll this one, and then you'll get a longer one. Now you'll notice that the other sides of your rectangle that you've cut, because you've cut those bits off the edge, you could try making some of these out of those offcuts as well, so you're not having any waste, but they will look different. See what happens. You never know. Okay, so I've got this one, and that's going to be longer. Same thing. You pull it down to the bottom. You can even tap it onto the table, and that helps as well. Tight as you can. And you'll have to re-tighten it again. It's squished a little bit. Use your glue stick again at the bottom, and then tighten it up at the bottom. Then you'll have some that are like that and some that are shorter, so you've got different lengths. When these all go together as families of coral, they look really good together, and I'll show you my costume when it's finished. Yeah, so you'll have like a group that will all stick together. So that's that one. Okay, the final one we're going to do this week is the Musidia. So for this one, these are quite nice to do actually, and they're quicker because you can cut more at the same time. Again, same again, I'm sorry, I know you're going to be repeating yourself over and over this week, but this is the last one for this week. So you're wanting to make 40 of each, 20 big, 20 small of each of the three that I've shown you today. So this time again, half and half. Do it where you get 16 rectangles. Then fold this piece of paper like that, so it's kind of what we call concertinaed, back forward, then fold it back forward like that, so you've got it all folded together into a little rectangle like that. Then on one side, it doesn't matter which, find something in your house, I'm sure this will be fine. The glue stick lid can be one of them, so that's for the big circles that we're going to do, and something smaller, having to use my makeup here, smaller for the smaller circles. So I'll go bigger so you can see it. So place, I don't know if you can see it there, you can see it better there, can't you? Place the circle you're going to draw around, the round object that you're going to draw around, onto the piece of paper, and draw around it with your pencil. Do the same below it, so 2 should be able to fit on. So that's how you will know if your the thing that you've chosen to draw around is big enough. I would go with the glue stick lid, and then you know Yeah, so you've got 2 circles drawn. Then you use your scissors. It's quite hard to get through all of them. It doesn't matter if they've got rough edges because we want some texture anyway. Cut around them. The thing is with this is it looks good when they're all together on the costume, especially all the different types. So it seems as though you're doing the same thing over and over again, and you are. There's no getting away from that. But it's, I promise you it'll be worth it. So you will then have cut quite a number of them at the same time. So actually these are a lot quicker. Then you're going to cut from the side of the circle roughly to the middle. You can measure it if you want to be really precise. So it looks like that, a bit like a Pac-Man. And then you're going to take each one and you're going to screw it up. So that's the bit that takes the time with this. Once you've screwed it up, unscrew, and then you're going to use your glue stick. Put a little bit of glue on the edge where it's been cut, so just along that edge there. Then you're going to turn it into like a cone shape, like that. You see that? Yeah. So you're going to make 20 of the big ones and 20 of the small ones. If you know that you're going to want more of these on your costume than maybe other things, then you could make more of them. If you think you're going to want some bigger ones of these, even bigger than that, so that's actually quite small really, isn't it? If you want to go bigger than a glue stick size, you can find something else that's a larger circle. I've got like a tea light holder here, I could have drawn around the bottom of that. So yeah, find things that are bigger if you want bigger ones of these, but make sure you screw them up, then you put them together. So you're going to do all of the ones that you've cut, and you might need to cut some more. So they're the big ones. And then I'm not going to show you the same again for the small ones, but you do the same again, but just draw around your smaller thing. And then you'll have smaller versions of them. And then what's nice is you can place the smaller ones inside the larger ones. And then you can also use them where you just use them on their own. So it's one technique, but you can make it look like 2 different types of coral on your costume. So it's quite a good one. So there's your 3 for this week. Good luck with it. If anybody's got any questions with what to do, good pointer. If your family are bored, any of your siblings, get them making, and then it's done quicker. If you haven't done any of the studies yet, please go on to the Tarpley Arts Instagram and see some of the example ones that have been sent in already, because there's been some amazing ones. If you haven't done it, like I said on my last video, you're gonna have to own up to it at some point. Let me know, we can figure it out, because they need to be done at some point. Okay, so please be in contact, don't be a stranger, and good luck with this. I hope to see what you've created. So on your PowerPoint it'll say your deadline for these ones and the ones that I showed you in this video. I want to see pictures of them all in a cluster together as you're handed. Okay, bye.